The Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast is brought to you by your friends at Microsoft HR. If you are getting this message, you have 15 minutes to clean out your desk before you're escorted out of the building by security. Xbox, powering your dreams. And then the music will play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
It's a story of the moment, all right? It's extremely important, yeah. Okay. So welcome to the Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast. I'm your host, BlueHighwind, and we're talking about Final Fantasy tonight.
Yeah, indeed.
But before we talk about Final Fantasy, we should probably talk about the state of the entire industry, because holy shit, this last week. Yeah. Joining me are SomeColorMage, who
Hello.
said, yeah, he was the voice that went, before, and Technobliterator.
Hello, I'm the voice that didn't do that.
You're the voice that went, eh. Yes.
I'm the voice that went that, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
So this is a podcast about Final Fantasy, of course.
It is indeed.
Yeah, we run a wiki called the Final Fantasy Wiki, and I mean, is there anything more to say about that? Like, it seems self-explanatory.
Well, we're the best one. I guess
we
you
are.
can say that.
And we will keep doing that until Microsoft or Google's AI strategy eventually destroys the ad market entirely, and then fandom shuts down.
Yeah, we'll have a contingency plan in place
we'll figure
for that.
something out.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out, man.
Yeah.
We've figured a lot of things out so far.
Yeah, it's not like fandom really is contributing much to this relationship. Let's be honest.
Look.
Not at
As
this
long as
point,
they
no.
as long as they don't self-destruct so badly that their GitHub repo goes up in a puff of smoke, I think we've got all the code we need to continue operating.
Yeah. 2 out of the 3 people here have worked directly for fandom, and,
And the other one is used to fixing them fucking up their own CSS.
Yeah. So we will continue to abide by our NDAs. Not that I think mine possibly anyone still cares about. It's been like 8 years, but I don't know.
No, I doubt it. We do have a new skin, though.
Oh, yes. For
We have
Final
a new
Fantasy
skin.
VII
Thank you.
Rebirth.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're
Thank you,
about a month out,
SomeColorMage.
about a month out, so we've replaced old Clive with the one of the Rebirth key arts, and I mean, I liked the 16 skin. It was an interesting challenge. But it's also something that only really works for 16, which means it's probably never coming back again. Unlike next month or so, when I have to bring the 14 code back for the light theme.
So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will release on February 29th, 2024, which is annoying.
Yeah, it's
Probably
insane, man.
That's
we'll have another episode before it comes out.
That's an extremely annoying date because, well, you know what? It's not that bad of a date because it gives me time to play Assassin's Creed, but also
And a lot of people time to play Persona 3.
You won't be able. Persona 3 is really long. That's the other thing I was about to say.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt that. I'm going to play that much later in the year, right? I'm not even going to attempt Persona 3. I'm just going to replay FF7 Remake.
Like Yakuza 8, Like a Dragon 8. I'm going to keep calling it Yakuza. They'll pry that out of my cold dead hands, but that's coming out, and there's no way I'll be able to finish that in a month. So I guess
that's already out, isn't it?
Did it release today, or I don't know. It's fine.
I thought it was this week that it came out.
At the time of recording, it will be out. So, Infinite Wealth is the subtitle of that thing, which is not the case of the video game industry right now. Because
Not at the minute, no.
No. In this past week, there were massive firings at Riot. 2,000 people got fired from Microsoft just yesterday at the time of recording. God, I think there were numbers calculated that something like 5,600 people have already been laid off in January.
Yeah, it's something like half of last year's numbers in just this month.
Yes. So about 10,000 people got laid off in 2023, and we've already have that in the first month of 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, meanwhile, people were telling me stuff like, the Microsoft Activision merger was going to be great for the industry. Yeah, maybe great for the industry if you live in Japan, while it's clearly just devastated the industry in every other country.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I was always so hopeful that merger would get blocked. Like, it...
Yeah, I'm on the side of...
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't putting out hope for it, but the CMA block was like the funniest thing that's happened that entire saga.
I was so hopeful that it would get blocked, and then it sadly didn't get blocked.
What's wild is that of all the places, Great Britain was the one to have the right call on that.
Man.
Everywhere else got it wrong except for Great Britain. Though the United States the U.S. government did try its best, and then failed.
Well, some of the U.S. government tried the best, and then some of the senators accused them of trying to help the Japanese gain a monopoly over the industry, because your senators are all fucking idiots.
Yes. Absolutely true. Even the ones that people like have turned out to be complete fucking idiots. So there is more context to this entire thing. I forgot to share this with all of you, but there was a very good article that came out this week. There was actually two really good articles. One was a games industry biz article that was talking about how the next 2 years, a lot of gaming bigwigs are expecting big closures. And the doom and gloom of all that. There was another even better one.
Closures?
Yes, closures. They're saying that 2020...
Closures of studios?
Yep. They're saying 2023 was the year of the layoffs, and 2024 will be the year of the closure.
Okay.
Like the thing is, that already started last year because of Embracer Group having overspent, and then the Saudis decided not to, actually pay off all the debt that they'd thrown up, and so Embracer just let's just start shutting everything down.
Yeah, Embracer Group right now is extremely over leveraged, but that always looked very sketchy. I am hopeful that a lot of what got bundled up into there will eventually find its way out and be okay, but who knows. Another, I think, even better article, this is from somebody named Matthew Ball that I discovered recently. This is an extremely detailed economic breakdown of basically the entire video games industry's like climate and health. He goes in with... I am deeply impressed by the level of detail here. This is like 20,000 words, it seems like. So a few of the things he mentions is that the entire video games industry in 2023 grew by 1%, which is below inflation. And that's even calculating the fact that 2023 was a very, very good year in terms of the crop. Like, it was the first year in 2 or 3 that felt like this is a full calendar. It was the first year that had a lot of very exciting game releases. Like, of course, what was the one that everyone... Baldur's Gate 3. Was kind of
that was the biggest one.
There.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 is another thing that he brings up here because the headwinds for Spider-Man 2 are also not that great because Sony spent a ton on that game.
Okay.
Yeah, they spent a ton. Have you heard this story? This came out like
last month. A lot of this is stuff that's related to the Insomniac leaks, but Sony is really showing the problems with their current strategy because, like, back in PS1, PS2 days when all of us started, Sony was known for just doing whatever on a small budget, and it was a cool thing. They went almost entirely in on these AAA cinematic experiences, and they're just spending what feels like exponentially more and more for the exact same result. So, come around this year, they'll probably stop turning a profit on those things because they're just spending too much.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The other problem is that Spider-Man 2 actually sold less than both Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales. I think his numbers...
that's not shocking at all. Like, that's not shocking considering those came out on PS4 and this is a PS5 exclusive.
Yes, he does mention that.
Actually, platform, it doesn't seem to be that big a deal. The PlayStation 5, for most of its history, has sold at the exact same rate that the PlayStation 4 did as its equivalent to age.
Yeah, so at this point...
when the first Spider-Man came out, that was near the end of the PS4's life cycle, and this is near the start of the PS5's.
Yeah, but I think the PlayStation 5 has been selling at extremely high rates, and he does kind of put this in here, like his calculations of just how well things are selling. That the PlayStation 5 has done extremely well. Microsoft, by the way, has done extremely poorly in terms of its sales. It's like 10% of the industry now.
I don't understand.
And it's still doing better than last generation.
Yes.
Last gen, Sony outsold them 3-1. This gen, it's 2-1.
I still don't really get Microsoft's strategy because I don't know. Like, there's no way that Game Pass is actually profitable for them.
It isn't.
Right. Like, I don't get what they're doing.
They can bring up whatever numbers they have, but this was something in the Insomniac leaks, where there was some documents from Sony comparing the sales of Horizon 1 and Horizon 2. And those games had the exact same curve for its equivalent age until the point where they put Horizon 2 on the PlayStation Plus equivalent of Game Pass. The amount of new players increased at the same time, but after that point, Horizon 2's actual sales fell to 0. So Sony have actually come to the conclusion that it's impossible to put something on a Game Pass-like service and have it make any money.
Right. Not shocking at all.
Ultimately, though, he does have some like graphs that are showing like the size of the video game industry over the last, since 1985 is what he has. So you can kind of see like there's like chunks here. So like green would be console, blue is PC, black is handheld. Handheld has basically disappeared since the Switch has happened.
Yep.
Tan is mobile. So you'll see that the green and blue and whatever, those charts slowly balloon, but actually start shrinking for a little bit towards the end here. And mobile explodes. Mobile has been where most of the money and growth in the video game industry actually has been over the last 10 years. And in 2023, the last few years, all the numbers are starting to point down for mobile.
Well, that's also not shocking.
Yeah, that's no surprise at all. Once industry crackdowns start coming to mobile, its profits are going to start collapsing. Because, gotcha.
I mean, that plus, like, the mobile market seems so saturated, right?
Yes.
Like, you go, like, whenever I'm playing, like, whenever I'm using Duolingo, right, there's all these ads for all these mobile games. And they're all, like, the same game. It's, like, the same thing. It's like, here's Temple Run, but we put a different skin on it. Here's, like, Clash of Clans, but we put a different skin on it. It's all, like, the same thing. So that market seems so oversaturated.
It is extremely profitable, and it is also extremely difficult to get into. Much like the kind of games as lifestyle sort of things, the Roblox or the Minecrafts of the world. Like, those are the golden gooses that'll give you infinite profit. The problem is there's really only room for like 1, 2, maybe 3 tops, and it's kind of impossible to even find
MMOs too, right? Like MMOs the same story, right?
Which is why that industry is mostly not a thing anymore. Like it is basically just 14 World of Warcraft and a bunch of smaller games that use pay to win or cosmetic models to just rely on people whaling.
Yeah, speaking of World of Warcraft. Speaking of World of Warcraft, Microsoft laid off basically the entire customer service team for that.
Fucking
But
hell.
that's going to go to fucking hell so fast.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know what they're planning on doing.
yes.
Oh, AI will
Probably
take care of
canning
it.
it.
Everyone loves interacting with AI or computers instead of a person when they want customer service. That's what the
Yeah,
consumers
bullshit.
call for. They want to not talk to a person when they have a problem.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's pretty grim, is the conclusion that this Matthew Ball gentleman comes up with.
Well,
The-
the thing is, right?
Yeah.
The thing with the gaming industry right now is there's basically two major things going on with it. The first one is, we're still very much in a post-coronavirus world, right? And during that pandemic, like, gaming exploded for obvious reasons. People didn't really have many other entertainment choices, when they're stuck in their homes. So gaming exploded during that time. And, that was when, like, the whole tech industry was operating on these stupid-ass growth models where they thought that growth would be infinite
Yeah,
and weren't accounting...
Yeah, and those models also especially made no sense because they were relying on high amounts of borrowing when the interest rate on a global level was close to something like 10 basis points.
Yes.
Right,
That
and
was
that was the
always-
second thing.
That was always unsustainable.
Yeah, that was the second thing, was also because of coronavirus, it basically led to this massive amount of inflation because the supply chains all got fucked up. And so as a result, interest rates have increased, which means you're going to get much, it's much more expensive to borrow money now for something like a video game. So between those two things of, the consumer base moving a little bit away from it and, that, like, obviously it was going to hit this industry a lot. So I think between that and, there's, with this whole, like, there's more spaces that gaming's trying to move to. Like, they're still trying to make virtual reality a thing, which maybe it will be. And then this, like, cloud gaming is still not there. Like, there's a lot of people who think it might be a thing. But, like,
Just to make sure, by cloud gaming you mean things like the long gone Stadia, right?
Oh yeah, things like that. Things like Xbox, whatever, Xbox Game Pass. Like, between that,
Oh yeah, that has cloud functionality too, I guess. Yeah.
yeah,
Is
like,
Amazon?
it's gonna be
Is Amazon Stadia still happening? By the way, is that thing still running?
Amazon's thing.
I forget what it's called, but I don't
Luna.
remember it ever going away. So.
Amazon Luna.
Yeah, that's it, Luna.
Amazon Luna.
I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah, it's
Well, the
it's still going
Wikipedia page
concern.
says. Yeah, the Wikipedia says Amazon Luna is a cloud gaming platform, which
Yes.
suggests to me they haven't shut it down yet. But yeah, I mean, between all of that, like, I feel like we're not gonna really see, like, amazing times for the gaming industry anytime soon. But long term, I'm like, we'll get to a better place long term. It's just, between those things happening, like, yeah, it was definitely going to hit this industry.
There's another problem, speaking of the entire interest rate thing, which is that a lot of investor money has become more and more cool to video game ventures. And this is becoming
Right.
a real problem in the indie space where you need the VC money in order for you to start your next project up. And a lot of places are
Yep.
suddenly discovering the usual 4 or 5 guys they'd call, the bank's like, all right, we need a loan. We're making our next game. They don't want to take their calls anymore. And that is
Right.
going to be a bad problem, not just in the large AAA space, but also in the on the ground, like, the more innovative indie space, which everyone's so proud of. It's like, ooh, it's bad already in terms of how much competition you have. It's bad to even get started now. I don't know.
Depends on depends on the scale of the indie, because these small companies are definitely not going to have a good time. In fact, I know some that definitely haven't, including down here. But it's probably going to be an age of explosion for the single guy just fucking around with whatever free engine he can get his hands on, because that's all that's going to be left.
Yeah, what I was saying is I don't see like much of a silver lining. Like I am
short term, I don't see any.
Yeah.
Like short term, no. But the silver lining I see long term is that, you know, I still view what's happening now as like an adjustment period. And this isn't the first adjustment period gaming has had, you know, and it won't be the last, you know. So I think when we figure this whole thing out, right, you know, and especially if we start to still see more and more gains in terms of like unionization in video games, right? I think long term we'll get to a better place. It's just we were always gonna struggle like right now.
And the best possible outcome, even if it will also be paired with multiple terrible outcomes for parts of the industry, is that it kills the AAA funding model, and we see a shift back to smaller and more affordable projects, because that funding model just doesn't work. It's exponentially higher costs for no increase in profit.
Well, as an example, another thing that came out from the Insomniac leaks is, and this made me very happy, turns out Ratchet and Clank, very profitable. It turns out. And they actually were projecting it to lose money, and they were thinking, oh, well, it's fine because it's just going to bring more people to the platform, right? And it turned out they actually made a good profit on it. It was a lower investment game, right? And it was a good return on investment. Both of them. It was the PS4 game.
Tie-in didn't do well. Okay.
No, the movie tie-in was the movie itself was awful. The movie itself was that was a massive flop.
Did anyone
see that? But the movie tie-in, I did, unfortunately.
The movie tie-in was good. I played a demo of it. Yeah, it was really solid.
Oh, yeah, it's a very good
game. The game was brilliant. The game was brilliant. And it was a massive profit for the company. And so was Rift Apart. But it's an example of them spending less money but having a still pretty substantial return on investment. So if there is a silver lining for me, then it means I get more games like that. But yeah, like we're in an interesting place right now.
I think
so. We'll see what happens.
You know, I need to find a silver lining, so I'm gonna go consider one. He does mention that video games are still like $185 billion or some ridiculous figure, and that's not going to shrink very quickly. That money's still going to be there. People still want to play games. I guess the best silver lining is that a lot of what I consider to be really crappy and scammy practices, you know, kind of like gaming SEO, to try to go and gain money for, let's say, a few years until eventually that crashes. All that is going to eventually have to go away. So this kind of pivot that everything has to be a destiny or whatever the hell, because I can tell you Justice League what is it?
Kill the Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
Killed the Justice League.
Yeah, that game.
Yeah, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
That game is going to sell about 4 copies total.
That game looks like shit.
It's a shame.
It's so
sad that it's what's his name's last performance as Batman. I'm so sad.
Yeah, like talking about impending closures. That game is guaranteed to kill Rocksteady.
That's such a shame.
It sucks, but they've bet nearly a decade's worth of their funding on this game. It's not going to work out.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
But that's the kind of game that's no, there's no future for that kind of thing, and everyone's starting to realize what a terrible bet that is. Versus a more reasonable project of, let's just release a game, and we know it's going to sell about 5 million copies, and we could find a better way to budget this along the way, and that can be much more sustainable.
Yep.
I can only hope that Sony Interactive Entertainment's next CEO, the first thing they do is just look at all of these live service projects that go, what the fuck is this, and cancel a bunch of them.
I mean, they already are.
Because even Bungie was saying, these are all shit, just before their own started going to shit.
Yeah, they cancelled the Naughty Dog one.
Yes.
And there was talks in the leaks that Insomniac was possibly working on one. I very much doubt that's still happening.
Yeah, it seems like a time when if you were going and tying your star to the Destiny... I don't know what metaphor I'm doing, but if you were trying to be Destiny, not even Destiny wants to be Destiny anymore, so it's a bad time to do that.
Yep. Indeed.
Instead, what you need to be is apparently a game where you fuck bears. Or you're Wooloo with a machine gun. That's what the consumers want now.
Yeah. Like people like dumb shit. That's not really a secret. It's not even really lowest common denominator. You just do something interesting. Like, I mean, even if Power World is has not an original idea in its head, it's done it in a way that's funny enough for people to just like it.
Oh, by the way, if you want to be just appalled, like you want your day ruined, look up Pal World Pal number 69. Oh my dear God.
I am not going to do that.
I'm not going to look that up.
I have gotten a good enough picture just from the number, thank you.
Okay. It is... that game, I hate that game, and I hate everyone that likes it. It's fucking reprehensible. Fuck that game.
I just don't give a shit about that genre.
I like Pokemon. I don't care. I don't care about survival games at all. And neither does Microsoft, considering they fired everyone that was working at Blizzard's survival game. The whole studio just gone. All of you gone. So we should talk about Final Fantasy news, right? In theory.
Yes. Let's get onto that.
Okay, so should we start with the 14 stuff that happened at the beginning of the month, or the big draw with Rebirth?
That's annoying. Both of you cut out a little bit while you were talking. I should make a note.
I was just saying where should we start, because I mean, there's a bunch of smaller stories, and then 14 stuff was early in the month, and then the Rebirth stuff happened later.
Why don't we get to 14? Why don't we get to 14 first? Because I feel like Rebirth is going to dominate everything.
I want to talk... You know what I want to talk about first? We were talking about presidents a second ago. So we got
pick up the smaller stories. We got other industry aspects of shit on.
Yeah, we actually do. Okay. As it turns out, we have yet more. So we got a letter from the president of Square Enix. His name is President Square. What is this guy's name again? I forgot.
Something Kiryu.
It's like his name is Tim Apple.
Well, you know what? His name is not at the top of this. Where is it? Oh, Takashi Kiryu. So I have a paragraph of his that I figured I'd quote. So here we go. This is Takashi Kiryu speaking right now, President Square Enix. In terms of new business domains, we previously identified 3 focus investment fields, namely blockchain entertainment, Web 3.0, AI, and the cloud. Last year, we redefined our overarching mission and goals for these 3 fields. And there you go. That's deeply promising.
Same shit as the last guy. And every time Square's branched into one of these things, they failed. So, basically all we're going to get out of them is just mocking them. So same shit as usual.
The only one I think has a shred of potential is the cloud. And even that, I feel like we're so not there yet that it does not strike me as a smart investment in the least.
Whatever happened to that blockchain game that Square Enix was teasing last year?
Some review build of it came out, and it seems to... And I have no idea what the fuck is going on with that.
Symbiogenesis is what it was called.
Yeah.
Let's look it up.
All I know about blockchain is that Snoop Dogg used to go all in on it, and then he put all his albums on fucking crypto, and I was so pissed off. He could only buy his albums on crypto, and then a couple years later, he took that NFT off his profile and put all his albums back on Apple Music, and I was like, oh, thank God. And he's clearly not doing that anymore.
Well, I have some bad news. Symbiogenesis was formally launched on December 21st, 2023, based on the Siliconera article. Here's a fun fact. It requires all users to have a MetaMask NFT wallet and a Discord account with 2-factor authentication enabled. Oh, God.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. You can get it on PC, Android, and iOS devices right now.
Fucking hell.
I thought the trailer music was really good for that. Maybe there's a full version of it now. Yeah.
What is the point, man? This fucking NFT bullshit.
I don't think they know what the point is either, because it's like something like, all the people who buy in are going to be able to determine what happens in the story and whatever. Have you listened to the ideas of people who buy NFTs? It's going to be the worst thing ever written.
I don't know. Are these like the people that are telling us that, AI is going to be our new cyber god?
Actually, yes.
Oh, great.
I can't wait till the hype and all that shit comes crashing down. And to an extent, a lot of it already has.
Techno, it's funny you saying that, actually, because
the NFT weirdos and the Gen AI weirdos are the exact same weirdos. It's like, all of the scam accounts at Twitter will go into both.
I want to hear what Blue had to say, man.
Techno, you were the one that was talking like 10 years ago, like, man, we just need a robot god to take care of all of this, right?
No comment.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad that we've steered you away, because there's a future where you could have easily have been one of these NFT weirdos, and on the plus side, you clearly never got that bad, because I never saw you believe in Rocco's Basilisk. I don't know.
Oh, fucking hell.
What the hell is that?
Rocco's Basilisk is basically what if Pascal's wager but God was a computer.
Oh, okay. That's like the universe is most likely a simulation, that kind of physics thing.
Yeah, and like you have to give you should give the organization that will make the super AI all your money, because if you don't, this AI might create a parallel universe where it can torture this parallel version of you for eternity because you didn't give it money, and it's so fucking stupid.
This sounds like a story idea I once had, and probably still should write. But I will not spoil that here. I'll eventually write that story. All right, so we should move on to our next Final Fantasy story, which is a quick one, because I don't imagine any of us will have much to say about this. Final Fantasy VII Remake has been summoned to the Outlands. So you can get a Buster Sword, materia, and new skins in Apex Legends.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That artwork was so horrifying.
It is.
I thought, like, I'm not gonna lie, I get it mixed up with Fortnite, right? Uh-huh. And I thought, like, because Fortnite, they're doing one with Metal Gear Solid, right? And I thought, you can have fucking Cloud Strife fighting old Solid Snake now. But of course you can't do that because they're different games.
Yeah.
So the Fortnite Metal Gear thing is such a travesty. They've managed to give Snake even less of an ass than he does in Smash Ultimate.
You were talking about the art. The art has like this Aerith here, who is like the ugliest Aerith I've ever seen. What a shame.
No, so here's what's interesting about the Apex Legends collaboration, right? Square Enix tried to get into the whole battle royale shooters thing with their own game, with the first soldier, and now obviously failed. So they said, okay, well we still want to be in it, and we still want the money from it somehow. So I guess if you can't beat them, join them.
Okay. So we'll move on now to, you know what? I should have ordered these differently because, Foam Stars. Remember Foam Stars?
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah, you know what? I want to just talk about fun Final Fantasy things, but, like, it really is, like, the gloomiest episode we've ever put on. Because, Square Enix last week confirmed that Foam Stars is going to have some AI-generated art.
Oh, fucking no.
Yeah, they're using Midjourney, but, like, in, like, the tiniest way possible, where they're using it just to create, like, assets for in-game album covers.
What?
That's it.
I mean...
This is more dead on arrival than it was already going to be. I mean, it's dead on arrival once it seems like it's going to be like the buy the full game and also there's microtransactions mode. That has not fucking worked, and your competitor is Splatoon, which is just a one-off fucking purchase.
And people like Splatoon, and I'd be curious to play Foam Stars at least once. I don't know.
Same, it's an interesting. I think it could be fun.
Like, it's an interesting concept having, this kind of Splatoon concept actually change the arena, but yeah, it's like the game itself is doing its damnedest to keep people away from it.
I got a wham fetish. Why not? This seems like an okay game. Oh yeah, Tekken. One last thing. Before we get to the real stuff, let's talk about Tekken. So this happened also yesterday. Everyone suddenly started demanding that Tifa be in Tekken 8 to the point that
that's not sudden.
Okay, I guess this has been a running thing.
No,
this has been a movement for years.
This has been demanded since Noctis appeared in Tekken 7. Right.
Oh.
So Noctis was in Tekken 7 and people were like, well, why is it Noctis when you have one of the monk characters that seems to fit better? And obviously the monk character...
Well, why was it Noctis? Maybe it had something to do with when Tekken 7 and Final Fantasy 15 came out.
Well, of course. I mean, that's obviously to do with it too, right? But everyone was saying, well, why don't we get one of the monk characters? And obviously the most logical choice is Tifa. She's the most popular of them. And also, 7 is, for obvious reasons, having a moment right now. So it's been this kind of long-running thing. Anyway, continue the story.
It eventually hit the point that Kazuhiro Harada, who I believe is a Tekken producer of some kind.
He's the producer, yeah. He's like the equivalent of whatever the Smash guy's boss is.
Okay.
Sakurai?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So he'd be the director then. So quote is, we all know she's attractive, and I understand that. But as of yet, we have not decided anything about guest characters, etc.
So I'm going to be kind to him and say that that was a mistranslation, and he meant to say an attractive prospect.
I'm not sure if that's true, but I guess fine.
Might not be true, but...
I prefer the previous version where he's like, yes, we're all horny for her, but we need
frankly, Harada could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what they're saying is they haven't decided on the DLC for it, right? I read a comment somewhere that said that basically the inside rumor is that she's really expensive to get as a DLC, which I guess it makes sense because obviously Cloud being in Smash Brothers, well, Smash Brothers sells a hell of a lot more than Tekken, right? So from that perspective, I guess that makes sense. But to me, I feel like when there's been so much noise about a collaboration like this, then it almost always amounts to the developers come out and say, yeah, we've heard about it, we're thinking about it. And then later on, it actually happens.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for the check to clear, really. I mean...
Yeah.
It might actually be Cloud, again, considering he is in Smash, and so is Sephiroth.
But yeah, I just feel like a monk character is so much of a better fit. I feel like Tifa is just such a perfect fit for that.
Yeah, that's very Tekken. It's a very close quarters 3D brawler kind of game, so...
Well,
let me just say, I haven't played a fighting game since Soul Calibur 5, and I played it because Darth Vader was in it, right? I would buy this. And I wanted to buy Mortal Kombat when they put the Terminator in it, but I didn't have the money at the time. I would buy Tekken 8 if Tifa's in it.
I just had something to say and then I completely forgot what it was. What the hell was it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was making a stupid air gaze joke. Yeah, we'll always have air gaze at least. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
At least we'll always have air gaze. All right, so Final Fantasy 14. We should do it, right?
Right. So, yeah, early in the month we had the last fan fest of the Dawn Trail reveal cycle. And right at the beginning, they were answering a few of the questions of stuff that was clearly missing from the previous announcements. Because just right in the fucking trailer, they showed the second of the new jobs, which is Pictomancer, based on Realm from 6, and also they showed Female Hrothgar finally.
Oh,
And
yeah, I remember.
everyone and everyone immediately insisted that they're not a furry, but
Of course, yeah. Oh, I hate that shit.
You hate that people are horny for animals, people, or that they're not being honest with themselves about how horny they are for animals?
No, I hate that like at any time it just feels like they just seem to ruin everything they touch now. Maybe that's just my trauma from being a Ratchet and Clank fan, where that suddenly became the whole discourse around that game. I was just like, shut the fuck up and let me enjoy the fucking game.
The reality is a ton of players of this game, in fact, it's definitely near a majority play either Makoto, Hrothgar, or Vieira already. They're all furries in denial. Anyway, but yeah, so there was the Pictomancer job. Yoshida insisting that he is not going to cosplay this time because having to wear this outfit is beyond his age range, apparently.
What do you mean beyond his age range?
I think he means he's too old to rock the midriff.
Oh, okay. I think he could do it. He's skinny.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, if he doesn't want to do something like he's got Koji Fox right there, he'll do anything.
Koji Fox can Koji Fox rock the midriff?
He'd try to.
All right, let's see what this guy looks like. I don't know. Well, I'll tell you if he can rock the midriff.
He probably couldn't, but he'd try. The thing I was most excited about was the Pictomancer, man.
Koji Fox cannot rock the midriff, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I didn't say he could. I said he'd try.
Okay. But the answer is definitively, please do not.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, Female Hrothgar, what's this say? It's mainly exemplified by one of the new characters that was also showed up in the final story patch for Endwalker, which happened a week later. And story the premise is fairly simple at this point, that Hrothgar woman is Wuklamart. She's an adopted princess of Tulyolal, which is the main country that encompasses most of Chiral. Her father is the current leader, the Dawn Servant. He's planning on stepping down, and there's going to be a big tournament between all his children and anyone else who wants to take a shot at the throne. And Wuklamart's trying to do anything to win, because one of her brothers has been eyeing the 3 grand continents and this power vacuum that's happening now that Garlemald's collapsed, and he wants to start a world war and take over. So she wants to defeat that brother by any means necessary. And she happens to know a guy who knows a guy who just saved the universe. So why not hire him to help?
Yes.
All
that, a common problem. I had that problem in 5th grade.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know how you fix that? Good night's sleep.
How do you fix?
Good night's sleep. Works every time.
Yeah.
But we're kind of missing the most important Final Fantasy XIV news.
Yeah.
Yes. That is, Hironobu Sakaguchi appeared on stage at the Fan Fest this month, dressed as a kappa.
Yes. He showed up in the middle of one of the panels. Panels dressed as kappa. He's just there to ask Yoshida when they're going to add this outfit to the game.
Oh, there aren't kappas in the game yet?
well, there's no Kappa outfit.
Oh, okay, but there are Kappas, I guess.
Yeah.
It would have been funnier
like,
if he just he's just wearing this random mythology monster costume, and he's like, "Put this in the game, please."
Yeah, she's just like, okay, eventually, and then Hironobu Sakaguchi tries to leave, but then he trips over.
And then he hugs him. And
Did we discuss the Pictomancer job yet?
Oh, well, it's Realm from Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, Realm from Final Fantasy VI.
And from Final Fantasy VI,
yeah. Basically, like, the idea is that, the Pictomancer basically just paints things into reality to attack things with. Yeah, the description is that, like, it's a caster.
And it's a DPS job?
Yeah, it's a caster.
Okay.
Right.
So, like, and
that's exciting.
Like,
I love that job.
And like, it's it's sort of somewhere in the realm of Black Mage, in that it's a bit more support than Black Mage, but it's still missing a bunch of the regular support stuff, caster things like Black Mage. Pictomancer won't be able to res fainted party members. Like that is one of Black Mage's big limitations. It's got extreme power, but it can do bugger all else. So yeah, it's sort of like a middle ground between Black Mage and the other casters, I guess. They also announced that during the Dawn Trail patch cycle, they're going to add Beastmaster. It's going to be like Blue. It's going to be like Blue Mage, just a limited job that has like its own sort of side content that's not part of the main story or anything.
Nice.
Are they ever going to run out of like job ideas, or do they just keep adding jobs forever?
They might just add them forever. Like they don't have to put as much effort into the older jobs anymore, because starting with Shadowbringers, they merged all of the job quests into shared routes for every type of job. So like there's only one set of job quests for casters in Endwalker, and like going on to Dawn Trail, it's probably going to be the same, except there'll also be a few extra quests for Pictomancer, because that's new for the expansion. So they're not being bogged down by the fact that they add 2 or 3 new jobs every expansion.
What job do you want them to add? From all the random background, what would be the random Final Fantasy job you think they should throw in?
I want them to add Holy Dragon. Holy Dragoon, sorry.
Oh, Holy Dragoon. Yeah. Oh,
okay. It's only ever appeared when, like, with Kain in the After Years, right? And it's such a unique thing. And I would love to see what they would do with that, if they did anything with it.
Like the thing is that they're not going to introduce any class that has to use the same weapon as one that's already in the game.
Oh.
Like, if they start adding Holy Dragoon stuff, they would just sort of make that part of the Dragoon kit. Like how Paladin is a mix of Paladin and the more non-holy Knight stuff, because like they only started really adding holy powers to it in later expansions, because like Paladin itself was kind of a translation quirk. It's just called Knight in Japanese.
I'd throw in the Arithmetician from Final Fantasy Tactics, and they fight with abacuses.
Oh god, that would, like, even if that was just a limited job, it would result in some of the greatest bullshit.
Yeah. I bet, you know what? Yeah. I bet you that in the next expansion, Arithmetician will be the new job.
Yeah, because like limited jobs are the designation for jobs that would kind of be like true bullshit to work in the normal game, because it's like Blue Mage and Beastmaster. So like they're both, got this idea of having a big tool set comprised entirely of stuff you've taken from monsters and such. So like they can't really have those jobs do the normal story content, because they can't actually guarantee where one of them would be on the power curve for a given level. Because Blue Mage has a bunch of really weird broken synergies to it. It's kind of hilarious how stupid the job can get.
Man, every time I hear about 14 and start talking about it, I want to play it. Like, you know, but various things have stopped me in the past, but maybe this will be the year I finally play it. Like, because I bet it's gone so much easier to get into than when I played it. Because when I played it, it was still kind of a slog at times. There was a lot of like grinding shit. I bet it's so much easier now, man.
I will never do it. I've accepted that reality.
Yeah, so anyway, they also showed more of Tural. Up to this point, Tural has been shown very much as, you know, sort of like a inharmonious with nature type place. You know, a lot of big environmental set pieces. And then they showed the second city of the expansion, Solution 9, which
This
is Fantasy Cancun, right?
Yeah, this is
Whoa.
Yeah, this looks like something out of
Yo,
8
that
or
looks fucking
13.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's
That
Academia
looks
from Final
fucking
Fantasy 13
beautiful,
too.
man.
Yeah.
Holy,
and
yo, fucking hell, that looks amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty much Academia. I'm like 90%.
Oh, I've missed when Final
Yeah,
Fantasy used to look like this, man. Like,
yeah, threw
you know,
everyone
I know I
for
might
a
be in the
loop.
minority.
Oh wait,
And-
I
Yeah,
just
I know
saw
one
I'm in
of
the
the-
minority for that shit, but like, oh my
And also,
god.
one of the other area artworks they show kind of implied that this is like a Midgar-like location where it's like on a big metal pillar just above the world.
Oh, sick.
Like,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
So-
yeah. Look at that. Oh, I didn't even notice the big anime eyes. So this is like full-on cyberpunk land on top of everything else.
yeah.
In it, yeah. Oh, this.
Yeah.
I miss when Final Fantasy looked like this, man. I know I'm in the minority for that. Like, I know a lot of people are really into the whole, like, a lot of people really miss the medieval stuff. A lot of people really love the steampunk style. And I get that. And I get that you love that. But I personally, I miss the science fantasy shit, man. Because for me, I just found it so creative. Like, you know, this blending of sci-fi and fantasy that they did. Like, I really wish 13 was like this, you know, that was like what it lived up to be, at least amongst the fan base. I'm not shit talking 13,
I will.
right? But, well, fair enough. But I'm not saying that because I haven't played it recently enough to have an opinion on it. But like, you know, if that had gone down as like a beloved classic and non-controversial, like I feel like we could have gotten more of this kind of stuff. Because I miss it, man. I miss when it looked like this. Like, but. You know, hopefully 17 or 18, man.
I'll take care of 17. I got you, Techno.
I appreciate it.
I got my design doc ready and everything. And you know what? It's gonna be under budget too. I promise you.
There was also this concept art for like the 8-player raid series, which everyone immediately said, like that's just a GPU. That just looks like a GPU.
It does look like a GPU.
It does, innit? Oh my god.
You know what? Maybe you're fighting your own GPU, and when you defeat this boss, it like auto crashes your computer.
Yeah.
Is that all our Final Fantasy 14 stuff, or do we have?
And just quickly looking over what else was there. I mean, what?
I recommend that people look up these artworks because these are actually very nice looking.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
should link them in the description.
and look
Yeah,
up
like,
Female
I think
Hrothgar. Am I saying
like
that
I
right?
think I hit all of the important points, yeah, and like I can just link to the gallery of all the artwork and stuff, so you can put it in the description or something.
Yeah, and you know, also look up Female Hrothgar because you know
Yeah.
we all need to be horny. God, that is an unpleasant phoneme to say. I don't like that at all. HR. Ugh.
Everything about what you just said is unpleasant.
I guess all we have left to talk about really is one other thing. Yoshi P was talking about Final Fantasy 16 a little bit, which is that they're probably not going to make any more games in the Final Fantasy 16 universe. Creative Business Unit 3 team will be mostly Final Fantasy XIV people, but they do want to make another game using their experience, which is kind of like a politician answer of like, well, I'm not saying no, but also no. Maybe.
Like, he's already made it kind of clear in the past that they were viewing 16 as a one and done kind of thing. He's also he's also said in the past that he is absolutely not on 17, which means that one's not going to be under Business Unit 3. And like, that's very different from what he said about 16, because he was deliberately being evasive, saying, I will not be the director of Final Fantasy 16, which is
wasn't.
True. He was the producer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever those things
But,
mean,
like, because
those are very slippery concepts in the video game industry.
But like, because he is the head of Creative Business Unit 3, he is de facto on the team of every game the unit works on. So
how many business units are left at this point?
4.
There's only 4?
4.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are the units now?
Well, one is like basically the carrying on from Square, which so like that's where all of the main Final Fantasy staffers are. That's where Nomura is. That's where Toriyama is. That's where.
So right now they're on 7.
Yeah, their big thing at the moment is 7 Rebirth. 2, I believe, is like the continuation of stuff that Enix was doing. And
so that's Dragon Quest.
Yeah, and like 3 is mostly online, and 4 is mostly other. Team Asano, which is Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler, etc., etc. They're Unit 4.
Have they folded Luminous Studios into one of those yet?
Yeah, Luminous would have been merged into Unit 1, I believe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Apparently they had 11 at one point.
They merged a ton of the teams together. Like, I don't think any of those teams were disbanded. It's just that they more thoroughly grouped them together.
Yeah, this is confusing. You should give your teams like real names instead of just numbers. Like, 5 used to be the 14 ones, and I guess they got renamed to 3. It looks, yeah. Oh man, this is such a mess. I'm going through all the business units. Like 8 was mostly doing remakes, looks like, for a while. 9 was Star Ocean Games and Schoolgirl Strikers. I don't know if this thing still exists. 10 did something called Kairisei Million Arthur VR. Good for them.
Oh, who's on Kingdom Hearts? Is that 1?
That must be 1.
That would, like, that's like Nomura and what's the co-director's name? Yasue. Yeah, they're definitely Unit 1.
Yeah. What a weird freaking structure.
Very weird.
Yeah. So I guess we could wrap up with our Final Fantasy VII Rebirth news. I don't remember what specifically we learned this month, other than we had a new trailer.
We had a new trailer. It was good.
It was good. I think it was the Sephiroth walking around trailer. It's kind of all I remember about it.
Yep. Yeah, then they did the story so far trailer, which my prediction is I feel like the story so far thing, I think that's going to actually be in the game. Like, I think there's going to be like, when you load up a game, it will be like, do you need to be caught up on the previous entry? And then they'll just play that.
Oh, definitely. So, like, they did that for Kingdom Hearts 3 and stuff. Like, that.
Right.
Like, Square is aware of some of these games with convoluted continuity lockout problems and tries to address that.
Yeah. So that's my prediction for that one.
They'll make you play through the entirety of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but at the original pace of the first game.
The voice actors were all in an event together recently. I think, and they're doing individually, they're doing separate ones soon at separate places, right? Including one in Houston, which I'm going to.
Oh, nice.
The voice actors all did an event together, and they get along super well, which is nice to see. But the main news that came from that was, like, after the fact, Brianna White, which is Aerith's voice actress, she gave this post that a lot of people have interpreted it as a farewell to the character, as a farewell to Aerith, which suggests. Go on.
She probably will still have work to do in the next
Yeah,
game, even
yeah,
if
like,
Aerith
even-
dies.
Yeah, like even if they play that scene entirely as it was in the original, which I still doubt, I think that they're going to twist it. She
Yeah.
would still have lines in part 3. That
Absolutely.
like she's not going to be cut off if she dies.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. But it does suggest that she does still die, which anyone who thought she wasn't still going to die, I think was delusional, personally. Right? And it does suggest that, that this goes up to, at the very least, it goes up to the City of the Ancients.
Yeah, that seems like a good... So then if you do part 3, I guess you'd cut out a large bit of the large materia quests, because those kind of felt like filler in the original game anyway.
Probably... Oh, they were definitely filler. So, I'm rewriting Sephiroth's page right now.
Mm-hmm.
My main takeaways have been, first of all, it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I was dreading this page. And it turns out, like, Sephiroth's story in the original, you think of it as, like, actually super complicated and it's all confusing. But no, when you drill down to it, it does make sense. Like, when you understand that, like, that whole bit from where Sephiroth kills President Shinra up to the Worldman Maze, when you understand that that's not actually Sephiroth, it's a version of Jenova that's being controlled by Sephiroth, then it all starts to make sense, right?
Yeah, it's so simple when you put it that way.
Oh yeah, it's weird, but it's also like makes sense, right? When you like piece it together. And then I think they're moving away from that with Seven Remake because it seems like Sephiroth from it being Jenova that is the Sephiroth. I think it's just the different Sephiroth clones can all be controlled by Sephiroth and they can appear as Sephiroth. I think that's what's happening now. So that was my first takeaway from that page. And then my second takeaway from it was that... Or was that my second takeaway? The fact that they've moved away from it with Seven Remake. Maybe that was my second takeaway.
That felt like a first takeaway.
Sorry, what was that?
I only counted one takeaway.
Yeah, the takeaway was that his story is a lot simpler than I originally feared it was going to be.
Okay. Is there another takeaway?
That was the main thing. No, I think it was that. I think it was that with 7 Remake, they seem to be moving away from that.
Okay.
They seem to be moving away from it's not Sephiroth. It's not that Sephiroth is just Jenova, and that's the only Sephiroth we get up until the Northern Crater. It's more likely going to be that Sephiroth can control all the different ones now, right? He can control the different clones. That seems to be what's happening.
Okay, you've repeated the whole thing again. But there's only one takeaway.
Right. If you only count that as a takeaway, as one takeaway, that's fine.
It's very important that we have our takeaways in orderly fashion and we precisely list how many takeaways we have.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so I feel like City of the Ancients is a decent place to end the game, but I feel like the ideal place to end the game, if it was me, I would end it at the Northern Crater. Yeah. I would end it right after Meteor Fall, and because they have said in previous interviews that they were really inspired by Empire Strikes Back, which it feels like so many trilogies seem to follow that model, where like the second one is everything all goes to shit, and the third one is the heroes have to save the world after everything's gone to shit.
The second one has the dramatic reveal that blows your mind about what's going on, and the third one is let's go fix what just happened.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So Matrix, of course, you go and talk to the old guy in the room with all the TVs, and it turns out, fuck, this was all planned.
Yep. Yeah, so I feel like they could very easily have an Empire Strikes Back ending if Aerith dies, but I think it would hit so much more if, like you say, there's the dramatic reveal of Cloud is not actually Cloud. And, oh shit, Meteor has been summoned, the world's about to end in 7 days, the weapons are coming out, and, you know, basically, everything's all fucked. And now the real Sephiroth is back.
But they could do the dramatic reveal of ending in City of the Ancients if they swerve wildly from Aerith dying or not dying.
Right. So
you know what?
I remember my second takeaway now. I'm so stupid.
We finally have a second takeaway. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So my second takeaway was that I had forgotten how little Sephiroth was involved in the story after Northern Crater.
Well,
right?
He's just, he's in the thing the whole time. He's evolving.
Yeah, Sephiroth himself isn't actually involved in most of Seven's story at all. He's dead.
Right.
He's been dead from the beginning. Everything you see is Genova.
Right. They did the Kafka thing, right? Where, after the next phase of the game where the world's about to end, now the big villain, you don't see the big villain again up until you go and fight them. And I'd forgotten how much that was the case with Sephiroth.
Well, it's very important if you're a JRPG final boss that you go and sit in one place and let the player go and do all the side quests.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
And that's what Sephiroth / Genova, whatever, is doing in the Northern Crater in the third disc of that game.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's
just chill.
Yeah, that's what it does.
That's gonna be really interesting. Then, if the third part is basically after Meteor Fall, which I imagine it will be, and then the world's about to end. And in the original game, a lot of that is, like you say, a lot of it's filler, because it's like the World of Ruin from Final Fantasy VI, wherein at that point, there's no longer a kind of story that you're really going through. It's more so, here's all the stuff you can do to get powerful enough to beat the final boss, right? And I wonder how they structure a third game around that.
7 is a bit more structured than 6's, though. Like 6, but the story basically stops once you get the new airship. 7, you still have stuff you have to do. You still have to do the large materia. You still have to do the siege on Midgard. You still have to do the cloud memory stuff. Yes, but yes, like at that last moment, then yes, boom, tons of side quests. But there is actually still a proper through route for most of 7, where 6 and this is honestly kind of a problem with 6. Once you've finished that first part of the World of Ruin, it turns into a complete directionless sandbox.
You know what?
Okay.
Off topic, but it just struck me. I don't know if I've said this before, but I figured it out. I know what they're gonna do with this whole swervy thing. So Zack is here, and Zack's a wild card. But think about what Zack is. Zack plays basically exactly like Cloud. And why do you need two Clouds in your party? They're going to kill Cloud. That's what's going to happen. Cloud is going to die at the end of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I don't know that that's going to be what happens, but
that would be the funniest thing, though. But
it does lead me to the point I was going to bring up. So thank you. That was a great segue. There was the other piece of news that came out was there's a bunch of influencers who have all said, they said something along the lines of, oh, I'm playing 7 Rebirth, and holy fuck, something just happened that was incredible, and I can't wait to talk about it. Which suggests to me that it's playable Zack.
Well, I assume that would be playable Zack.
I think that was an inevitability.
Did they not announce that?
Aren't going to be like long cutscene interludes. I don't think they've directly said that he's playable.
They haven't directly said that. Okay. What they've said, what's been confirmed about Zack, is that in Zack's timeline, the fucking multiple timeline bullshit, whatever. I'm just using Zack's timeline as a stand-in for where Zack is, right? Where Zack is, he has Cloud with him, right? And Cloud is, I don't know what's happening with Cloud. I don't know if Cloud is still like kind of in a coma sort of situation because Zack doesn't die in this timeline. And Biggs is there because the rest of the party have died.
Yeah.
But Biggs has not. So
yeah, like it seems inevitable to me that there's going to be these interludes where your party is Zack, Biggs, and someone else. Like it could be Cloud gets better. It could be, you know, Reeve is still pissed off about all of this, so you know, his persona joins. Like could be some completely unexpected other. Kate Sif is a persona. Prove me wrong.
No, your logic is irrefutable. I'm sorry to say.
But yeah, I don't know what the hell is going to happen with the Zack story, and that's like, it leaves me both excited and terrified. So,
but also, I don't think this timeline would exist if there wasn't something that was tying it back into the main story. Right. So it's going to have some effect somehow. How this timeline exists because of the ending of Remake when the Whispers were killed. So
right.
Yeah, the most disappointing thing that could happen is if like this whole Zack thing just ends up being a meandering nothing, and we're still on Final Fantasy VII track at the end of this game.
Yeah, if something hasn't derailed the game, I'm going to be disappointed, honestly, because you know people can say, "Oh, it's not faithful." I don't give a shit. I've played Final Fantasy VII before. While I would like the PlayStation Final Fantasy VII with a better translation, I do not need a trilogy of PlayStation 4/5 Final Fantasy VIIs to replace it.
Right, and that's very similar to how I feel about it, where I feel like even though as I'm rewriting the pages for Final Fantasy VII, and now that I have it written down on paper instead of how like confusingly told it is in the original, right? And I have a more and more of an appreciation for it as I'm going through it that way, and it's like it's seeming like a better and better story when you like understand that it is actually well thought out. Like I still feel like Final Fantasy VII's strength, and I know there are some like hardcore, like they exist less and less nowadays, but like these hardcore Final Fantasy VII fans who, the second you make like a light criticism, they shut off the rest of the video and they're like, no, how dare you, right? But I feel like its strength was not its story. I feel like the strength of Final Fantasy VII was the setting, it was the characters, it was the materia system, it was the soundtrack, right? To me, the story was not the strength of Final Fantasy VII. There were moments within the story that are extremely good. And from what I can tell, we're still getting those. We're still getting Bugenhagen and everything that happened in Cosmic Canyon.
Bugenhagen is the strength of Final Fantasy VII's story?
Well, I mean, he was amazing, man. Come on. We're still getting the Diane and Barrett stuff. That's still happening.
That's something that they explicitly said, that one of us said, "Oh, do we really need it?" And the rest of us said yes.
Yeah, like it's still, like that's all still happening. So if it's told in a different order, and if the final story ends up completely different, I really don't care. Like as long as it's done well, I'm not interested in, like you said, a purist like just trilogy of retelling the exact same story all over again.
I think Final Fantasy VII has one of the best stories that they've told in a Final Fantasy game, and I would be interested in seeing that whole thing done again, but at this point they've already thrown too many cards that were going metafiction, Evangelion rebuild. So you can't. It would be disappointing if you were to
No, that's totally fair. That's
right,
totally fair.
You can't undo 7 Remake.
No.
Yeah.
Not at this point, anyway.
I think that's a completely fair perspective on it, because there's so much in Final Fantasy VII's story that I thought was really, really good. Like
Bugenhagen.
I still like Bugenhagen, but I feel like the best part of 7's story, and this is interesting because it wasn't like when I first played it, my favorite part of the story was always the stuff that happened with Shinra. Like, I always thought the environmentalism angle of it and the whole, like, what if, you know, a giant multinational corporation controlled the whole planet, and it was like, you know, I always thought like that was such an interesting take on a sci-fi world, right? And that was always the interesting stuff to me, and I never cared about anything that happened with Cloud or Sephiroth. And now I've completely changed my view on that. Like, I feel like Cloud's story is so unique and so well done and so interesting for a video game protagonist, and I feel like that was by far and away, to me, the best part of Final Fantasy VII's story. And I never used to have that perspective before. So what I was always interested in was, let's tell that story, but let's tell it better. And now that you have voice acting and expressions and, you know, and what was I going to say? Animations, right? You know, you're not with just little Lego block figures and text boxes. Then that's all you need to tell the same story, but better.
Oh, the Lego block figures. Oh my god, that reminds me.
Oh yeah, man.
I told about this on the Discord, but I had a dream the other night. SomeColorMage, did you read this?
I don't think I saw it, sorry.
Okay, all right.
I read it.
I had this weird dream. So, all right, it's Cloud and company, but it's like the present day HD versions of them. And they're walking through like a factory or whatever, and they run into the original Polygon PlayStation versions of them. But they're not like polygons, they're mechanical puppets. Like Five Nights at Freddy's things that have been rusting and rotting for the last 20 years. And they're looking at them play out the scenes that are in their memory. So it's like Cloud's there, and he's like, wait a second, that happened to us, but what does this mean about our memory? Is our memory actually just some sort of construct that was built by somebody? And it turns out it's all like some sort of Shinra scheme.
That would... Oh my god,
that would certainly be an interesting take on it.
No, but also like, you know the whole scene in Whirlwind Maze in the original where Sephiroth's like, he's trying to convince Cloud that he's not a real human being and that all his memories are fake, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that would be the way to do it, man.
If that happens in the game,
memories.
If that happens in the game, I'll know that the world really is a construct.
Man, I gotta wonder how the hell are they going to adapt the ending of the temple? Because, you know, like, you know, the temple shrinks, Kate Sif as his heroic sacrifice, and Cloud goes insane, starts beating up Aerith, and during this scene, Kate Sif just walks back on screen. Hi, I'm the second model.
Yeah.
That's like one of the weirdest parts of 7.
I forgot about that.
Maybe you kill off Kate Sith for real this time.
No, that's not gonna happen.
I wish they would.
No, because he comes back. He comes back
look,
in Advent Children.
Look, I floated this idea before. You know, the scene is happening. Aerith is there. Sephiroth is coming down. Cloud realizes, wait, there's probably a third Kate Sith. Just shoves the second one in the way.
You throw an infinite number of Kate Siths with the problem, and eventually it'll be solved.
Oh man.
Alright, we should probably...
There's one last bit of news that came out.
I was about to wrap up, but...
quote-unquote news. But, it was that... They're basically saying that, you know, in the date scene, there was the play, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought the play was fucking amazing in the date scene. It's so fucking funny because everyone just answers that your enemy is that knight.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no other answer to that question, right? And apparently the new version is like an expanded version of that, and it's gonna get quite like they're saying it gets quite emotional. I can't wait to see what they do with that, man, because the date scene was so good.
Is that when Aerith's gonna be singing? Because we've seen that in the trailers.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
do you
possibly
think...
that's it.
And that was definitely a Gold Saucer thing, so...
Maybe every single person you date sings that song. I feel like I've done this joke before. I'm getting deja vu. But Barrett could be the one singing that song.
Oh, man. I can imagine John Eric Bentley singing that shit. I
think Barrett would nail it.
I think he would. I think he would absolutely nail that.
He's the requisite party member that sometimes hums the victory theme. He can keep a tone.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's the one who like when you go off to one of the side quests in the underneath the plate, then Barra sings this song. He's like, "Where could they be going?" And it just sounds so funny in John Eric Bentley's voice.
Well, I don't want Techno singing that song. I guess I'll learn that. All right, so I think that should probably wrap us up this month. I mean, we don't really have like an extra theme or anything. Our theme this month was the complete decimation of video games as an industry. Mm-hmm. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Pleasant episode. So we are the Final Fantasy Wiki, and this is the Final Fantasy Wiki podcast. Our music is by XPRTNovice off the OC remix Balance and Ruin. It's based on Mount Koltz. Thank you for letting us use that song. For all I know, XPRTNovice has no idea that this song has been used for the last 2 years for this podcast. But
I don't think XPRTNovice does, but the OC remix do.
Okay, right. So somebody knows, and we thank them.
Yeah, because we did ask them what the terms were, right? Yeah.
And they basically said, yeah, it's fine, just use it.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not making money off of it.
Yeah, all right. I mean, technically, you'd have to go through Square Enix rights, but I don't think they know either. And neither does fandom.com. No one tell them. So, yeah, I'm BlueHighwind. I host and produce this thing. And that's it. It's kind of the end of the show. Right?
See you next time.
Yeah, I think that's it.
How do you end a podcast? Do you actually do something, or do you just ramble and meander and babble pointlessly? I
think we just inevitably cut ourselves off at some point and play the ending music.
All right, we will do this. I have the intro ready. I think it's a good one this time. The Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast. Nope, someone's tapping. The Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast is brought to you by your friends at Microsoft HR. If you are getting this message, you have 15 minutes to clean out your desk before you escort it out of the building by security.
What the?
Oh my!
Oh, that's the darkest one we've done so far. What
Xbox,
the fuck, man?
Powering your dreams. All right. Let me get.
What the fuck, man?
Let me get a clean version too, so I can decide between the one where you laugh and the other one. So
okay,
we'll go again.